What is this? Looks like basil, smells like basil, tastes like basil. I think it's basil. Seriously though, how to identify plants you don't know? How to identify plants when you're unsure? In 2025 we have 3 options. Human guidance, books and online media, namely apps and AI. Let me talk a little bit about the advantages and disadvantages of each of these methods. If you have someone, a friend, a relative, who knows the way around nature and can show you some useful plants, that's just great. In my opinion, that's the best way to learn. When I was a young kid, my grandmother would take me on walks. In the springtime, everything that couldn't climb a tree at the count of 3, as we say in German, was foraged and put into our salad. Lots of young leaves, young greens, plenty of things that you can eat grow out there. But when in doubt, you could use a book. Personally, a method I don't really like that much because there are drawings, but many plants have twins that look very similar, just like with mushrooms, and sometimes these twins are seriously toxic. And the third option is using an app or using AI in case ChatGPT is your best friend, because image analysis works really well these days. Let me show you my favorite ways to identify plants. When I took the doggies for a walk, I never used to bring my phone, but I do now because of this app. It's called Picture This, and the way it works is, by the way, what strange plant is that behind me? Now let's ask Picture This. Well, it's growing all over my pergola. What might it be? Aha! Wine grape. So that's the way it works. You launch the app, you take a picture, and Picture This will identify the plant. Family of the plant, it cannot identify different varieties. So for example, if you have limes and lemons, these are the same family, but it works very reliably. It's a freemium app and I'm using the Pro version here. You also get a lot of tips for plants that you might have in your garden. You know, when the leaves start to get brown or look sick, there are a lot of helpful tips. Taught me to use aspirin for my oleander. But Picture This is not the only option. There is also Flora Incognita, which is a free app. It works a little differently. When you use Flora Incognita, you first need to pick the type. So I'm going to choose Identify Plant here. And then I need to pick whether it's a grass, flower, tree, and so on. Are grapes a tree or a grass? They are not a flower. Fern. Fern is also a category. Let's go with Other. And again, to access my camera here. So this is our grape. Wild grape, Vitis vinifera. Flora Incognita requires better image quality. One thing I realized is that Picture This also works with partial images. I'm really fond of it. And the third option that I've been testing recently is called PlantNet. It's also an app. It works very similar compared to Picture This. It's also completely free. And with this app, you pick a zone, a climate zone, but you can also identify plants worldwide. So again, we have this button identification, and we need to take a picture. We could, of course, also use an image from our gallery. And again, I'm going to try the wine here. So we want to use this picture. Those are leaves. It's correctly identified as Vitis labusca. It's not Concord grape. So the variety identification never works greatly. This is really an awesome way to get to know more about plants, to find out which plants have useful properties, which are maybe poisonous. Personally, I like Picture This best. They also have a nice included organizer, so you can save plants to your garden, categorize all the plants that you have here. So look at this beautiful, beautiful sage. Common sage. Its name is common, but believe me, it's very special. I just love sage. So helps you to categorize your garden, to learn about plants, and the price is, I think, about 20 or 30 euros per year. Definitely a worthwhile investment for everybody interested in learning more about plants and nature. But there's another option. We're living in the age of AI. I'm using a lot of tools, but I'm working most with ChatGPT. And of course, you can also just use your phone's camera, snap a picture of an unknown flower. So let's try this lavender here. So I just took a picture and now I'm going to start ChatGPT on my phone. Which plant is that? Chippy. I've been working with ChatGPT so long, I call him Chippy. So picture is uploaded. He is thinking now. That's lavender, lavandula. The flowers are dried out and have gone to seed, but the long thin stems and the narrow gray-green leaves are typical. Of course, you can continue from here, ask questions about lavender, ask questions about how to care for your lavender. It's a very, very versatile tool. This also works on insects. I recently saw a really, really strange hornet flying by, took a picture, asked ChatGPT and found out that it was not actually a hornet, but a special type of fly that camouflages as a hornet and which is relatively new in our area here. Apps such as Picture This have specialized features like the categorization of all your plants, but ChatGPT and other AI tools that are able to analyze images are a very, very powerful way to identify plants. And they are totally superior to books, because ChatGPT will also tell you when the system is not sure which plant you took a photo of. Yes, these smartphones are becoming more and more like the tricorders they use in Star Trek. They can't identify alien life forms yet, mostly for the lack of alien life forms, but with plants and animals, it's a great addition to our arsenal. Let's do a quick comparison between Picture This and ChatGPT. I have here on this side a Chinotto, my personal favorite when it comes to lime trees, and here on the left side, this is a Lido lemon. It's a crossbreed between Meyer lime or Meyer lime and grapefruit. I am now going to start Picture This. First, I'm going to put my phone here. Let's go to identification mode. So this is the Lido lemon. What does it tell us? Lemon, citrus, limon. Not surprised. Now here for the Chinotto. Mandarin orange. It's from the family Orangeum. No way to recognize the variety. I'm now going to take two pictures. ChatGPT 1 and 2. I selected the two photos I just took. Which lemon varieties are these? So let's find out. So here we have the result. From the images, first plant, the large, broad, oval-shaped leaves with a slightly lighter central vein and upright growth suggest this is likely a Persian lime, Citrus latifolia, or a Lido lemon. Wow! Second plant. This plant is more compact with smaller, darker, glossy leaves and round green fruits and so on. Strongly indicate a calamondin or kumquat hybrid. Yeah, they do in fact look very similar. 50% recognized with a 50% chance. Identifying the varieties is still going to be our job in the future. A word of warning when it comes to these identification apps. I recently did a video about oleander, beautiful but very toxic plant. I've been using Picture This a lot, and with some plants, for example blackthorn, the app will tell you it's toxic. And theoretically this might be right, blackthorn is mildly toxic, but some of these plants are so mildly toxic that they are used in medicines that are even eaten. Blackthorn is a good example. I'm going to portray this plant next. Use your brain, be careful, but don't believe everything an app or AI tells you.